Hello and welcome to Top 5 Friday, your guide to the tantalizing world of virtual instruments and effects. I'm Tim Cant, and this time I'm counting my pennies as we head down into my rarely visited bargain basement of plugins available for under 50 quid. That's right guys, Brexit is coming and you know I'm saving all my clams some panic buying of tinned meat and fruit squash to see me through the inevitable new dark age. If you've got any thrifty hints of your own, why not make like a music tech Martin Lewis and drop your tips in the comments. At 5 we find another race without a space. Torsion Twist set up at 4. Bits get crushed at 3 with Decimort 2. Tau Bassline 101 is our runner-up. And the Squamous Scaler is number 1. And number 5, Out of Space by AudioThing. The Roland RE-20 Space Echo is a legendary studio delay unit thanks to its combination of tape and reverb. Back in the 70s, making a durable tape echo machine was a tall order, but getting the perfect sound in your door is a lot easier these days. AudioThing's Out of Space is a bang-on copy of the Space Echo, giving you that legendary sound along with its analogue-esque time-warping Doppler delays, alongside control over the virtual tape quality, panning, the type of noise signal, and even preamp options. With its price tag of £49 and 96p, Out of Space is a no-brainer for analog delays to add spoons of spice to any track. For dirty dub-style delays, there are few better choices than Out of Space from AudioThing, and it's super reasonably priced. Let's bypass it and check out our dubby brass sample we've got. Very nice, but let's add some dub atmospherics. Lush, but let's see what happens when we turn up the intensity, which is essentially a feedback knob. So yeah, super easy to get those rhythmic, textural, lush, dubby delays. There's plenty of other stuff we can do. For example, messing around with a feedback rate, which is, well, the repeat rate, I should say, which is essentially a decay time control. Unusual thing is, you can see from the head speed here, that the higher we turn it, the quicker it gets, and the lower we turn it, the slower it is, which is kind of backwards to most delays. And by changing it, you can get some wonky Bauhaus-style delay effects. We can also introduce a bit of wow and flutter with this knob, which changes the modulation speed of the virtual tape that's used to create the delay effect. It basically makes it a bit wobbly. There's also a built-in reverb, which you have tone controls for here. And we can also put it in stereo mode to get some wide effects. And we can control the time of the stereo delay with this knob here. Now currently we're just using one of the delay heads, and we can control which ones are used with this mode selector. So there are 3 delay heads, and we can use these in various combinations, as well as the reverb. So if we put it in mode 11, we've got all of our heads, and we can control the speed of these individually, and the reverb as well. So let's take a listen to that. So yeah, there's plenty more to tweak here. The cool little touch is, if you tap the case, you get a nice little noise, just like real life. Amazing stuff for under 50 spondoolies. At number 4, Torsion from Sine Vibes. Now in version 2, Torsion is the little synth that can. Instead of stacking itself to the rafters with billions of oscillators, Torsion provides some relatively simple options for sound sources, then sends them through a wave transformer, frequency shifter and delay to enrich the sound in unusual ways. There's also distortion, filtering and tons of modulation, including envelopes, LFOs and Sine Vibe's own Chaos Oscillator, which is a 2-dimensional signal that gives you more interesting results. Torsion is an extremely unextortionate 3496 to you, but watch out Windows lovers, this one's audio units only. So, Torsion is a hybrid synthesizer. It combines a few different synthesis styles. The waveforms are apparently additive based. The transformer is a bit like phase distortion, and the filter is your classic subtractive synthesis. So let's see what happens with the oscillators when we play them. We've got a bass waveform here selected of a sine. It doesn't look like sine because it's being transformed. So there you go. We can control the transformation depth with this here. From something like a sine, something a bit more harmonically interesting. We can change this by changing the bass waveform or the transformer model. And we can modulate the transformer depth using these faders here, which, so the red one corresponds to the envelopes, the orange to the modulators, and the yellow to the chaos generator. So let's start out with a bit of an envelope. So you can hear that the decay time of envelope 1 is controlling how long it takes for the transformer depth to drop. So you can get some real phase distortion, almost FM sounding effects there. So there's 3 oscillators. There is a ring modulation capability, which means oscillator 1 ring modulates oscillator 2. So we change the pitch of oscillator 1 and hear how that sounds. There's also a bit of distortion in there. Bit of depth reduction. And saturation, of course. And we can combine these with the subtractive filter cutoff to get some interesting effects. Let's have a little bit of chaos in there as well. We'll use that to modulate oscillator 2. Let's put a little bit of delay on there, why not? So yeah, for weird and wonderful sounds, Torsion is where it's at. And number 3, Decimort 2 by D16 Group. You love bit crushing? Who doesn't? D16 Group's incredible take on early digital audio systems is incredibly hard to beat for both its sound and its control set. And what's more, it'll only set you back a measly 39 clams. The main resample control reduces the sample rate. It's sometimes all you need to get that dirty, crunchy, old school sound. But if you want to go deeper, Decimort 2's got you covered. There are frequency deviation and images filter controls for the sample rate reduction, plus resolution control with dither, jitter control, filter, and tons more things to help you mash up your sounds in a musical manner. Decimort is a bit crusher with absolutely tons of functionality. Let's take a listen. So, you've got your resampler frequency. Pretty standard. You have a little bit of extra control over it here with the approx filter. Very interesting, a bit of images filter. And also jitter. Now if we turn the frequency up, we turn the jitter up, makes it sound a little bit crunchy and noisy, a bit like a screwed up CD. Also, of course, you have resolution reduction. Sounds pretty smooth, and that's because the dithering is turned up. If you turn the dithering down, much more distorted. And we've got a preamp as well. Yeah! Oh, that's where the goodness happens. And also, there's a filter as well, which is a nice touch. Let's have a bit of bandpass fun. And you can mix the dry signal back in. But what I imagine a lot of people will be interested in is the presets. As you can see here, we've chosen the vintage sampler filter. Got a ton of old school vintage sampler presets. Let's have a bit of SP1200 for goodness sakes. And what about a bit of emulator? Surely we want to try some low quality S20 action. And there's plenty of other stuff in here as well. So yeah, for grit and grime, it's a bit of a one-stop shop, guys. At 2, TAL Bassline 101 by TAL Software. Roland's SH101 was a straightforward synth, but that might just be the reason it changed the history of electronic music. TAL's version is just as simple, and so is the price, ringing up to only £46. It's been calibrated and tuned to match the DevZone unit, giving you the classic bass sound with little or no effort. It includes retro oscillators, filters, upgraded envelopes, and an updated arpeggiator/sequencer section to get those burbling bass lines cranked out. Being based on the Roland SH101, TAL Software's Bassline 101 is a pretty straightforward synth. First thing we want to have a look at is the source mixer, where we have level faders for each of our oscillators. So if we turn everything down, turn up this one, we can hear the pulse wave. And we can control the pulse width here and modulate the pulse width. Let's set it to LFO. Pretty cool. Next we'll turn up the sawtooth. Very simple, you can't really do too much with that, but there's also a sub-oscillator. This has 3 modes. One that is 2 octaves down and has a bit of a pulsy shape. One 2 octaves down that has a square shape. And one that's 1 octave down with a square shape. Very, very straightforward, easy to get going in a flash. Now, what if we turn the sequencer on? Let's see if we can make a bit of a bass line. Now, I'll go through here, put in some pseudo-random values and see if we can't come up with something that is at least listenable. How's this going to work? A little bit of cheekiness on the end there. Let's do it. It kind of sounds like one continuous note that glides around at the moment. But we can change that by turning down the frequency and turning up the frequency envelope modulation. Let's play down the keyboard a bit. If you like the 80s, why wouldn't you? It's top notch. You can get a little bit more out of the envelope by activating the full range envelope mode. So that makes it a little bit spunkier. Might turn you into some kind of cyberpunk. Also, if we turn off the sequencer and turn down the volume, why are we turning down the volume? Well, I'll tell you guys. I'm going to activate poly mode, and look, we can play it on multiple notes. Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, polyphonic SH101 for under 50 smackers. And at number 1, Scalar by Plugin Boutique. Scalar was already a great tool to work with music theory, but it just got a lot better with its version 1.5 upgrade. This plugin can detect the key that you're playing and lets you choose and audition chord progressions and will suggest the missing parts of your musical puzzle. You've got a sequence of chords you love, just drag it out into your DAW and you get the MIDI in your project. Version 1.5 now adds a fretboard display, a parallel harmony function, and even an arpeggiator, making a one-stop shop for all your electronic composition needs. If that's not convinced you to get Scalar already, how about the price? It's $39.95 GBP. There are plenty of new features in Scalar 1.5. I'm just going to show you some of my favorites now. There are tons of new song styles, including J and K-pop, plus new artists. But of course, I'm going to select CC Rogers someday. There's no way that's not going to happen. Let's bind the MIDI to our chords here. Absolute classic. But why not try the arpeggio mode? There are a bunch of different modes you can select here and stuff like that. But why not try strumming instead? All very cool, but what if I don't want to strum a piano? What if I want to strum a guitar? Well, there's a bunch of new sounds. Let's go for acoustic guitar, appropriately enough. Very lovely indeed. And we can change our strumming speed as well. And also, there is a scale lock so that we can play any note on the keyboard, and no matter how badly we mess up, it'll transpose it into the scale that we've selected. And also, we can generate parallel harmonies as well. Yes, let's clear that. Let's have a listen to these. Parallel as you like. Okay, plugin lovers, that's all we've got time for today. But try to hold back those tears because we'll return soon with another list of essential software. In the meantime, why not check out the free trial versions of all those plugins available at pluginboutique.com. I'm Ghost.